Hello, welcome to NOLA Stamping. So today we're going to be making a fun citrus-inspired card using the Mediterranean blooms. It's in the new catalog. I really like this sweet. The paper is so cheerful, and the stamp set that goes with it is really nice. And I really like seeing the paper separately, so that you can see the big 12 by 12 pieces. And I really like that it's like citrus and flowers on one side, and then it's like that blue Mediterranean vibe on the other side. This is just a nice paper pack for a bunch of different things. And I just wanted to show you, so like on the paper pack insert, it tells you what the colors are. And so like the colors that they use in the different papers and stuff. And so I just sort of cut them out and labeled them, just so that it's easier to think about and see the colors and be inspired and use them in like a card. So if you're having a block, I really recommend doing this, like just cutting out a couple little pieces of the color and then playing around with it. But this card uses just such minimal paper, so then you can save that paper for something else. I really like how it all comes together. So let's cut out from the Mediterranean blooms. So I'm going to cut 2 blue pieces and 2 yellow pieces. And they are going to be 1 inch. The yellow pieces are 1 inch wide by 5 1/4 inch. And then the blue pieces, I'm cutting 3/4 of an inch. So just 1/4 inch smaller by 5 1/4 inch. And then one blue piece that's going to be 4 inches wide by about 3/4 of an inch tall. And on this card, it's going to matter which way the things go. So you want to make sure that when you cut them off of the pieces of paper that are the 12 by 12 pieces, that everything is kind of facing the correct direction. So for the card base, I'm using Daffodil Delight, but I think that the Night of Navy would also look really good as the card base. But it's just like a little more serious. So, you could go with either one. But we're also going to need to cut like 1/4 of an inch by 5 1/4 inches. And we're going to cut 3 different cardstock pieces that same width. And then we're also going to cut a piece that's 4 inches wide by about 1/2 inch tall. And then, also the card base. And then I'm just cutting from those colors from earlier, boho blue. So we're going to cut that 1/4 inch by 5 1/4 inch. And it's just a tiny little sliver of a piece. And then we're also going to cut another sliver just like that from the Night of Navy. And then for Night of Navy, we're also cutting a piece that is 2 3/4 of an inch by 3 3/4 of an inch. And then we need a couple pieces of white. So one that's 2 1/2 inches by 3 1/2 inches, and then another piece that's 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches for the inside of the card for the sentiment. And then I'm also taking a piece of scrap paper. It's just copy paper left over from something else. And I'm going to cut a piece that's about 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and I'm going to use that as the base just to line everything up. And so then that way everything can just be square and we can trim off the edges and stuff like that. Okay, so let's get to stamping. So we're going to need that piece of white that we just cut. That's 2 1/2 inches by 3 1/2 inches. And we're just going to, in the lower right-hand corner, stamp "You're the best kind of person," or whatever sentiment you want for the front. And then I know that it's weird, but that orange, I'm going to be stamping it in Daffodil Delight in yellow in the upper corner. So I'm just using another piece of scrap paper so I don't get my little stamp pad all gunky. And it's tying in that yellow color. I know it's an orange, but it's citrus. So I think it all kind of goes together. And it's a nice, like, drawn out sort of thing. So I think that it works really well that way. So now I've got like all of my little scrappy pieces of paper cut apart. And we're just going to put them together. So I really do find that having that scrap piece of paper really works out well. So that way you can butt everything up against each other. And the little pieces of paper, I'm using like that fine tip glue. I'm not sure what it's called. I think it's just called fine tip glue to put it together. You could also use the Tombow glue, like that would work really well too. But like since they're so like skinny, the little cardstock pieces, it goes together a lot easier if you use the liquid adhesive. So then you can just sort of butt it up against the others, and then I use the tape runner for the other pieces. So we're going to do 1 inch and then the little skinny 1/4 of an inch and then the 2 3/4 of an inch. So the slightly smaller ones. And then we're just going to go ahead and like intersperse the 1/4 inch strips like in between all of those. So then that way, like it just sort of breaks up all the different like widths and stuff like that. But then because it's it goes back and forth and you have the same like essential sizes, it doesn't feel like frenetic or anything. And it kind of pulls all the colors together. And so the strip that goes across the front, I just played around with it a little bit. It could go up at the top. That would be fun. But for this one, I just decided to go ahead and put it across the bottom. And so then you use the 1/2 inch daffodil to pull in the yellow colors too. So like it all kind of goes together. And then whenever you have anything that's like a lot of different things glued together, you always want to sort of trim everything up just so then that way the lines are a little bit cleaner. And since we're going to use Daffodil Delight for the card base anyways, and it's going to have a frame around the front of the card, you just want to sort of have clean edges all the way around. So I'm going to go ahead and use my tape runner again to just go across that copy paper. And I'm just going to give myself a nice even frame all the way around the card. And then I'm going to adhere down the Night of Navy. And I'm going to use some dimensionals, foam dimensionals to pop up the little white stamped square, just to give it a little bit of dimension. So next we're going to do some embellishments. I could spend forever adding the little bit of bling to the cards. It is a lot of fun. You can use tweezers or the pickup tool or scissors to put the gems on. But these gems are part of the suite for the Mediterranean blooms. And I thought that it would be fun to add some of the little gems onto the strips. And then that kind of like jazzes it up a little bit and makes the strips into something a little different. Like almost like a design, but not quite a design. And with the bling, it's pretty and sparkly. So when I was looking at the card, I was like, well, I kind of want the interior sentiment to have like a space too. The Daffodil Delight is light enough that you don't really need to do an extra panel. But if you used navy for the card base, you definitely want to do that. But I always think that doing the little white panel for the interior sentiment just sort of makes it stand out a little bit. Plus you get to do a little bit of extra stamping I used the stamp that's like the repeating pattern just to tie in the two colors from the front. And then I'm just going to use the tape runner and just put that on the interior of the card, making sure that there's a nice frame all the way around it. And that's the bright, cheerful card. I really like how it came out. I hope that this inspired you to make it or make it your own, and that you stay crafty.